Interrupting your usual shitposting broadcast for an important message. Hey everyone, Foxy here. So I don't usually do this kind of thing, but this is really important and well, no one's talking about it, so I thought I'd give it a shot. So you might know that recently there's been a thing going on with EU copyright laws for the internet, and it's really bad. And everyone, including me, is really getting tired of this kind of things, but the battle against evil is an endless battle, but one that must be fought. As said by the narrator in Darkest Dungeon, obviously a lot of people have pointed out there's a lot of issues with those laws and articles. They've been trying to quote-unquote fix the issues, and just today we've got an update on this, and they actually made it even worse than it was before. So I got this article here, we kind of resumes a little bit the new things about those laws, and we are going to go through it, and you're going to see really how bad it is and how we should really be talking about it. So, one of the oddities of the vote a few weeks back in the EU Parliament's Jury Committee concerning the proposed EU Copyright Directive was that there were no published text of what they were voting on. There were snippets of a proposal released, but the full actual text was only just released, and it's not in the most readable of formats. However, what is now clear is that the jury committee not only failed in its attempt to fix the many problems people have raised about the directive, but it actually makes many of the problems worse, including saying that online platforms become legally responsible for any copyright infringement on their platforms. This new text effectively says that the internet should only be a broadcast medium and no longer allow for open user platforms, which just simply kills the entire point of the internet, and like I said later in the article, it just transforms it into the regular old school media like paper journal or TV, where they just control everything that's put on. And kind of the same thing that's been happening to YouTube, where they only push forward the content they want to represent YouTube, and everything else is just pushed down. Meb Julia Redder has an excellent analysis of what's problematic about the released text, but I want to focus in on a few of the more bizarre changes in particular. First, on the whole Article 11 link tax bit. Jury apparently thought they could quiet down the protest by adding a line that says, 2a, the rights referred to in paragraph 1 shall not extend to acts of hyperlinking. So basically the thing about this article, if they want websites and companies to pay a tax for people linking to other sites and articles and that kind of stuff, which again just kills the point of the internet, because you see that absolutely everywhere. It's used everywhere to link to other places. That's just the point. And so here they say that it does not extend to hyperlinking, but it doesn't make it any better in any way. So now supporters of the Article 11 will point to this new line and say, see, it's not about a link tax, which would be great if the rest of the text actually lived up to that. Unfortunately, basically every bit of the rest of the Article 11 undermines that, because it still creates a license requirement on a snippet of any length. And most URLs these days include a snippet of the headline of an article within the URL itself. Unless everyone stops stripping the text that includes such snippets, making URLs significantly less useful, those links will still run afoul of a licensing tax requirement. Thus, them declaring that a hyperlink is not covered is meaningless if the rest of the directive can only be read in a manner that would include nearly all links. Once again, it appears this amendment was written by someone who has no functional understanding of how the internet works, and thus does not realize how badly drafted this proposal is. It's the kind of thing a non-technically inclined lawyer would write in response to people calling this a link tax. Oh, they would say, well, let's just say it doesn't apply to links. Even if any reading of the directive would mean it absolutely must apply to most links, especially any that use any sort of descriptive text. On top of that, if you share a link on a platform like Twitter or Facebook that automatically sucks in some snippet text, you're now violating the law as well. Another change made by jurying is much more concerning. Yeah, the writing on the article is kinda at some points. This is on Article 13, the part about mandatory upload filters. For unclear and unknown reasons, jury decided to expand Article 13 to make it even more ridiculous. First, it redefines the non-like content sharing services to completely wipe out any intermediary liability protection for such platforms. The most standard form of protecting platforms from liability is to note, correctly, that the platform is just a tool and is not the publisher or speaker of works posted or uploaded by third-party users. That's sensible. You can then, as the EU already does, put certain restrictions on those protections, such as requiring a form of a notice and takedown regime. But the fundamental common sense idea is that a platform is a tool and not the actual speaker of the third-party content. But jury wiped that out. Instead, it explicitly states that any content shown via online platforms have a responsibility of those platforms by saying that such platforms perform an act of communication to the public in showing the content uploaded by user. This is a massive change and basically wipes out all intermediary liability protection for platforms. Online content sharing service providers perform an act of communication to the public and therefore are responsible for their content. As a consequence, they should include fair and appropriate licensing agreements with right holders, therefore they cannot benefit from the liability exemption provided. That's bad. Well, talk about an understatement. It's much worse than the original text from the Commission, which made it clear that intermediary liability protection in the e-commerce directives still apply to such platform. Here they explicitly remove that exception and say that platforms cannot benefit from such protection. As Reddar points out, under this reading of the law, almost any user-generated site on the internet will be in violation and potentially at significantly greater legal liability than the various pirate sites people have complained about in the past. By defining that platforms, and not their users, are the one communicating uploaded works to the public, they become as liable for the action of their users as if they had committed them themselves. Let's imagine a company that makes an app for people to share videos of their cats. If even one user among millions uses the cat video worth 3000 app to record a Hollywood movie of a theater screen rather than their kitty, that'd be legally as bad as if the business's employees had committed the copyright infringement themselves, intentionally to provide off of it. The Pirate Bay, Mega Upload, and Napster, while much more innocent than any site with an upload form, will now be in the eyes of the law. Like, for anyone that does even the most basic things about the internet, this is ridiculous. But if you put that to real life logic, this makes even less sense. Imagine that there is a company that's selling like working tools like hammers, screwdrivers. Somebody buys one of these things, buys a hammer, and then uses said hammer to murder someone. Then, following the logic they have here, the entire company should be made liable and arrested for the murder because of the hammer they sold. I don't even know what else to say about this. This is just... And that's not all that jury did. It also outlawed image search with an amendment. No joke. Use of protected content by information society services providing automated image referencing. Member states shall ensure that information society service providers that automatically reproduce or refer to significant amounts of copyright protected visual works and make them available to the public for the purpose of indexing and referencing, conclude fair and balanced licensing agreements with any requesting right holders in order to ensure their fair remuneration. Such remuneration may be managed by the collective management organization of the right holder concerned. This was not discussed previously and not recommended by the EU Commission. But what the hell? While they're outlawing Google News, why not outlaw Google Images in the same shot? There's a lot more in the text, but it's really, really bad. Effectively, the document envisions a world in which everything on the internet is licensed, and any platform will be legally liable for any content on its platform. What you get in that world is not the internet, the greatest communication medium ever made. What you get is TV, a limited broadcast medium only for those who are pre-checked by gatekeepers. It is incredibly important that the EU not move forward with this directive. Contact the EU Parliament now and tell them to save your internet before they vote on this proposal this Thursday. They say they vote on this Thursday, but apparently this is on the 5th of July, so just tomorrow it's a change to that. So you can see really how bad it is. It kills the hyperlinking, it kills sharing any content, even right down to Google Images, and you don't even hear about it anywhere. It's pretty sure at this point that the media is directly involved into it, like they say, that what you get with this is TV. It's not the first time this kind of thing happens. The people in power and the old media that are things like TV or the press, the paper press, have been scared for a while of the internet, and for good reason, because it's been killing them slowly but surely, and they keep trying to find ways to control the internet so that they can stop that, and this is just another attempt. Reason why you don't hear about it on TV, because they want that to happen. This is once again all shitty politicians that are trying to save their ass to keep themselves on their seats by giving more power to the powerful. Because like this, only the people, the companies that are fine with all this and that have the money to pay for those link taxes will be able to have content. So like that, this flow can successfully control the information and content that's been put up. And websites like Reddit, for example, might not want or have the money to pay for such things and be successfully censored. But at this point, with all those things, it would be bad even for big companies. Even you just saw with Google Images that will be just killed if that just passes through. So now this is a question if big companies are going to step in. Are they just going to follow all this and just pay the taxes and just keep going? Or are they actually going to fight against this? So right now, once again, the important thing is to contact your representative for the vote tomorrow. I'm going to put multiple links in the description, provided by the PC Master Race subreddit with additional information and things that can help you just send pre-made messages to your representative or just write your own thing. I'm going to do that just after. I don't really want to get involved much in politics, but this is really important. As much as we're all tired of it, it's not going to go away, and we need to keep fighting against it. So yeah, that was the serious moment. Now back on to games and shitposting, and hopefully this will all end up fine.